Welcome to Belgrade, the massive and rather fascinating capital of Serbia. Now, this is a city with many different faces, and over the coming 2 days we're gonna cover some of the highlights. So, let's go. Home to around 1.6 million people, Belgrade, or Beograd, is the capital and largest city of the modern Republic of Serbia. The history of Belgrade goes back various millennia. Strategically located on the confluence of two major rivers, namely the Sava and the Danube, Belgrade has always been a major military, economic and political stronghold. The Serbs are an ancient nation, and in the 8th and 9th century AD, following Slavic migrations in the Balkans, the first Serbian-led kingdom was formed in what is today northern Greece, parts of Croatia, Albania, and of course Serbia itself. After the fall of the first Serbian kingdom, the nation was under foreign rule for a long time, as it was controlled by the Ottomans and then the Habsburg Empire. After various revolutions, Serbia became an independent country in the 19th century, and its first constitution was signed in 1835. After that, many more wars raged across the Balkans, and in the wake of World War I, Serbia became the driving force within the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. "20 years later, there was another world war, and the Kingdom of Yugoslavia became the Federal People's Republic of Yugoslavia, with Belgrade as its capital. Yugoslavia was known for practicing its very own brand of communism, and there was a major split with the Soviet Union, but more on that later. In the 1990s, conflict returned to Serbia, and the large multi-ethnic federal state of Yugoslavia imploded, breaking up into various smaller countries. This historical overview was obviously extremely oversimplified, but you should know that Serbia and Belgrade have seen an incredible number of wars and conflicts, even by Balkan standards. The city was at war more than 100 times and razed to the ground more than 40 times throughout its history. And one more fun fact, Belgrade changed its name 15 times depending on who was in charge. So what is Belgrade like today? Well, first and foremost, it's a city of contrasts. On one side of the river Sava, you have New Belgrade, an absolute paradise for fans of raw, futuristic, brutalist architecture. The most striking building here is arguably the iconic Gen X Tower, which I absolutely adore. Last year I traveled to Yerevan, Armenia, which is also full of brutalist structures, but frankly, New Belgrade is on a different level. The central parts, on the other hand, offer a mix of historic grandeur, cozy pedestrian zones, and large boulevards. And finally, the skyline is being rewritten by Belgrade Waterfront, a multi-billion-dollar glass and steel luxury tech hub that we're gonna see on day 2. Belgrade certainly isn't a picturesque or beautiful city in the conventional sense, but it does leave a strong impression. Also, for the most part, it is clean, safe, well organized, and pleasant to visit. I was last here about 11 years ago, and I can safely say that today the city is a lot more polished, with better infrastructure and friendlier vibes. Apart from that, Belgrade is one of the largest cities in the world with free public transportation. You can hop on any bus or tram without buying a ticket, and this makes getting around a piece of cake. The only exception is the airport shuttle bus, which costs around €3, but there are free alternatives as well. We are now on Republic Square, which is close to the geographical center of Belgrade. From here, we step onto Kneza Mihailova, or Prince Michael Street, which is a vibrant and bustling pedestrian-only shopping alley.
Ako ga to interesuje?
So we are now inside Belgrade Fortress here, which is a massive complex with various fortifications and walls and bastions. And just like most fortresses in Europe, this wasn't built in one single stretch, but over many centuries. The oldest mention of the fortress is from the 3rd century BC, but then it was rebuilt, modified and expanded by all the different empires who conquered this land. And here you can see we have some great views over various parts of Belgrade, including Novi Beograd, which is New Belgrade, and also the Belgrade Waterfront development. We have now reached the end of the fortress, and you can see here the confluence of the two main rivers, Danube and Sava. So the main fortress here is free to visit. You just walk in, but there are also some small museums that cost a little bit of money, like 2-3 euros. But to be honest, the weather is so fantastic at the moment that I'd rather stay outside. I then went to a place called Skadarlija neighborhood, which is centered around Skadarska Street, and it's known as a hip, kind of bohemian, artsy quarter. As such, you have lots of art galleries, traditional restaurants, coffee shops, and bars here. For lunch, I went to a restaurant named Avlija, where I got a local specialty called pljeskavica. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Anyhow, it's basically flatbread with mixed ground meat and some spicy sauces. Really delicious. We are now at the church of Saint Sava, which is dedicated to Serbia's patron saint. Apparently, it was built on the exact spot where the Ottomans burned his relics in 1594 to crush a Serb uprising. Though construction began in 1935, this massive monument took nearly 70 years to complete. And the interior, which was only finished in 2020, is home to one of the largest mosaic projects in human history. It features over 12,000 square meters of breathtaking, shimmering gold tiles covering practically the entire wall. Unfortunately, I can't show you this interior because on the day that I visited, there was an Orthodox festivity going on and the line to get inside was literally a kilometer long. As we cannot enter Saint Sava, let's have a look at St. Mark's Orthodox Church. Completed in 1940, the interior isn't as spectacular as Saint Sava, but the iconostasis covers an area of 130 square meters, and the church is well worth a visit if you are in central Belgrade. As our first day in the Serbian capital is coming to an end, let's do a quick accommodation tour. I found a compact but highly well-equipped studio apartment on Airbnb, and for one person it was perfectly adequate. Better still, I only paid 31 euros per night. Belgrade isn't particularly expensive for European standards, but you won't find an abundance of budget hotels, so an Airbnb generally offers better value for money. I started my second day by taking the bus to one of the city's most significant 20th century monuments, namely the Museum of Yugoslavia. Today, there are 3 different buildings, 2 museums, and a house of flowers. The first museum details the history of Yugoslavia, mostly the period after World War II. The second museum has temporary exhibitions, and when I was there, it hosted a pretty cool collection of Italian and Serbian comics. Finally, the complex is also home to the House of Flowers, which is the mausoleum of Josip Broz Tito, the long-term leader of Yugoslavia. Tito emerged as a major resistance figure against the Nazis in World War II and later became Prime Minister and President of the Socialist People's Republic of Yugoslavia. He is known for breaking with Stalin and establishing his very own style of communism that was built on non-alignment. As such, he maintained friendly relations with both the Eastern and Western blocs and became co-founder of the so-called non-aligned movement, or Third World. Yes, that term originally meant something completely different than what it's generally used for today. Thanks to this neutrality, at some point in the 70s, the Yugoslav passport was the strongest in the world and citizens could visit both Western and Eastern countries without a visa. While Western historians often highlight Tito's authoritarian tendencies, his legacy is viewed overwhelmingly positively in former Yugoslavia and much of the global South. After the Museum of Yugoslavia, it was time to check out Belgrade's shiny new waterfront district. The architecture is impressive and there are lots of fancy restaurants, malls and upscale residential towers. The project wasn't fully complete in June 2026, but the promenade is definitely a pleasant place for a stroll. For dinner, I returned to the center and went to a traditional restaurant where I got some local pork sausages with bread, fries and a beer. The portion was a bit too sumptuous for me, so I ended up taking some of it back to my apartment, but the sausages were juicy and delicious. And that is it from Belgrade, Serbia. Overall, the Serbian capital is a highly intriguing place to visit, and it definitely offers enough attractions for 2 or 3 days. There are various museums that I didn't cover and several interesting locations outside of the city center. Belgrade is relatively affordable, but prices have definitely gone up in the last few years, so it's not really cheap anymore. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this little tour and see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.